That, of course, is a story for another day, and I'll see you, and we'll talk about that down the road. Welcome, wrestling fans. You got the show Bill Schuyler here at One Wrestling's Indy Roundup. We are concluding the 3-night extravaganza in Reseda, California, Pro Wrestling Guerrillas Battle of Los Angeles 2015. Again, the greatest tournament in pro wrestling today. That's in my humble opinion and the opinion of many throughout the wrestling world. We open up night 2 with the villain Party Marty Scurll versus Rich Swann, and it is no secret that Swann has indeed signed with the WWE NXT, joining his Pro Wrestling Guerrilla alumni of Biff Busick, Kevin Steen, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. It seems that the last 12 months was all about pro wrestling, Ring of Honor superstars getting their way into the NXT division. Now it seems they are concentrating heavily on Pro Wrestling Guerrilla guys who just, obviously they have their scouts here. It is said to Kevin Steen that William Regal, indeed, in watching Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, is what caused him to bring him to the attention of his higher-ups and get him signed. So, with that, this here was just an incredible match. It did not disappoint. These two guys just lighting up the night. A great opener for night 2. Marty Scurll is a superstar in the making here. Big things are going to happen for him after this Battle of Los Angeles event. Obviously, Rich Swann going to the WWE NXT division is going to be a major player in that division. These acquisitions that they've made in NXT are going to change the face of the company. Not only did they score these that I mentioned, also in signing of Kana, now known as Asuka, the Japanese Joshi strong style mistress, if you will, is going to completely flip over and rebuild the women's division and make it even better than it is in NXT. But I digress and going on about NXT. It's just big news for me, as I am a fan of NXT. I am a big fan of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and all the indie federations involved with it. Your winner via the chicken wing, Marty Scurll over top of Rich Swann. Match 2, we had Lucha Underground's Angelico Lucha Libre versus Jack Evans UK style. Disregard that. His going up against Jack Evans and his Lucha Libre style, as he is a massive star in Mexico, an athlete that should have been signed by any of the bigger name companies in the Northern Hemisphere, that being either TNA, where he would lit up the X Division, WWE, or Ring of Honor, but he seems to like being the outsider, and like a lot of guys go to Japan to be that, he's Mexico's place for him to be. Jack Evans, great match here. Two of the best in the business right now. One, the young veteran, and Angelico, the younger of the two, just has a brilliant career ahead of him. Angelico looking much better tonight than he did on night 1. Jack Evans did an incredible Jackie Chan drunken kung fu gimmick during this match. This was more of a sports entertainment than the typical Pro Wrestling Guerrilla strong style, flip-flop and flies, spot monkey spots, and the like, if you will. And he ended it with a Karate Kid finisher. And your winner, Jack Evans, who will go forward in Bola 2015. We then had a match that I was looking forward to seeing. Chris Hero versus Timothy Thatcher. Awesome, hard hitting, and Thatcher was out to prove that he was as tough as Chris Hero, a true slobber knocker, if you will. And this match just went back and forth, these guys beating the living hell out of each other, and it ended with the Hero's welcome for the win. That's right, Chris Hero advances in Battle of Los Angeles 2015. Chris Hero, a personal favorite, a guy who walked away from NXT because he just did not dig the scene and how they handled things. Would he go back? I think Chris has changed a lot since going into NXT, leaving NXT, and then rebuilding his career in the independent scene. I'm glad to see that he's got his body weight under control. He's obviously back working out. He's always reminded me of, with the bigger bulk to him and not the muscles, he's like a Barry Windham type of wrestler, and that's a great accomplishment and a definite win in being compared to Barry Windham, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, who also had a problem with authority and working under one company for too long and did not like certain aspects of the business, and he walked away relatively young, and just a guy who the last years of his career with Barry Windham, he could have continued to be a world champion everywhere he went. Issues are what they are. I don't want to see this happen with Chris Hero. I want Chris, if you're listening to this, if you hear about it, if somebody out there wants to tell him, the show, Bill Schuyler at One Wrestling, is your #1 fan, Chris Hero, and I want to see you succeed in this business and be the king of the independents. I want to see you go back to NXT, take it over, and work your way up and to be the NXT champion and the WWE champion. You are easily capable of achieving this, and things in the business up there have changed a lot since you left. Just food for thought, things to kind of gnaw on and think about, let it marinate in the brain. I know a lot of you guys are not fans of NXT because you hate the WWE machine behind it, but you can't deny what's going on in that company. And Chris, I mean, he could go to Ring of Honor, he could tear that up, he could be the Ring of Honor champion, and for him that would actually be a great step for him to go into Ring of Honor, take out all the competition, take the belt, and then do like many others before him, Punk, Tyler Black, Austin Aries, Daniel Bryan, it goes on and on. Make your way and become a star in the WWE's machine, starting out at NXT. So again, Chris Hero was the winner over top of Timothy Thatcher via the Hero's welcome. We then get a tag team match with Aerostar and Phoenix versus Drago and Pentagon Jr. Yes, the Lucha Underground aspect of this tournament explodes right here in a totally insane match, double style Lucha Libre. These guys just not stopping, near falls after near falls, high flying flip flops and flies, that crazy kind of stuff that everybody seems to like in 2015. It is the thing. It's been the thing for a while. Shout out to the Young Bucks. You were the guys that got that rolling. Basically, again, this match just went everywhere, and it was over so well that the fans began to throw money in the ring. You ask, what, throwing money in the ring? Yes, that's a down in Mexico Lucha Libre tradition. When the fans are that enthralled and happy about what's going on in that ring, that they actually throw their hard-earned pesos and dinero into the ring, and then the wrestlers split that up afterwards. They did that, and it was definitely a pro wrestling guerrilla moment that's going to be in the minds of fans for a long, long time. Your winners in this match were Aerostar and Phoenix. Just, again, an outstanding match that you need to see. We then had Tommy End going up against Drew Gulak. CZW is Drew Gulak. A bit slow at times here, but it did pick up and turn into a very, very good match between Tommy and Drew. Seems Drew Gulak, in my opinion, I've seen him live many times. I saw him, the last time I saw him, it's been a while, was he went up against AJ Styles here in Voorhees, New Jersey. And Drew's style is that slow, plodding type of match. At times it picks up and then goes in. He's a very much, basically an old school wrestler, and I'm talking old school. And it shows. And a lot of the fans of the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Indy style right now, they don't appreciate everything he's doing, the ring psychology that he has, just working and working on an opponent. You got to just really get your mindset wrapped around what you're going to see with Drew in the ring. This match wound up with a, again, it was like, got awkward again, and they had a finish out of nowhere. Pinfall 1, 2, 3 in the ring, and Tommy End was your winner. We then had the pace definitely picking up a bit with Speedball Mike Bailey going up against Drew Galloway. Oh, how the WWE nearly destroyed this man's career, that being Drew, with the three-man band gimmick and all the idiotic things, how he had went from being Vince's chosen one to the bottom of the barrel, just being a comic relief. But he did do it with style. He did do it with everything he had, and it's helped him garner his fans, and he's made a big impression on the independent scene. He made a huge splash when he went back to Scotland and the UK area and lit it up, and then he got signed by TNA, and he was one of the biggest bright spots in a very dismal time for Impact Wrestling, as of now going up against and fighting Global Force Wrestling for TNA, as not too many TNA originals left, and Drew Galloway has stepped up to become one of the biggest stars and attractions in that company. Mike Bailey is crazy. He is outstanding. Speedball is an apt name for him. I have not seen Mike Bailey in person, but his reputation precedes him. He was the underdog here. Bailey rising up in the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Indie scene. He's going to have a huge bump with his experience, and once everyone gets to see his performances here at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's Battle of Los Angeles 2015, which you can pre-order right now depending on when you're watching this, but the pre-order's just begun. 3 nights, 3 DVDs, worth it every year, because obviously if you weren't there live and you didn't have any kind of hookup or connection to see what went on, you got to wait for the DVDs, and that's something Pro Wrestling Guerrilla has stuck with, and it's working out for them in spades, being truly the greatest indie promotion. It just will not go up to anything close to being mainstream status. Again, tons of near falls, and at the end they had a standing ovation for Speedball Mike Bailey. Another Pro Wrestling Guerrilla moment here in the tournament. Then we have Lucha Underground's Prince Puma. You may know him better as Ricochet, going up against England, UK, Sabre Jr., 2 of the greatest wrestlers in sport today. The high flyer versus the mat technician, contrast of styles that meshed incredibly here, proving how absolutely frighteningly talented that Ricochet is. The abilities that this man puts forth in the ring, the way he can move, he can do anything on the spot. on the fly, and his acrobatics and high flying, just out of this world abilities. Why he's not been signed by a bigger company completely baffles the mind. I don't see him not being signed within the next 2 years unless he just absolutely wants to refuse the opportunity and the money and stay where he is. That is what it is. I mean, it is something to be the big fish in a small pond, if you will. Some guys don't want to take that next step, but as talented as Ricochet is, I don't see him being anything but a success in Ring of Honor or NXT, the WWE. And Zack Sabre Jr., my God, he definitely has risen to the occasion. He is one of the highlights of this year's tournament, and his career is going to go straight to the moon, brother. Again, this match, just unbelievably incredible. We then have Zack Sabre Jr. going over Ricochet. 6-man tag, guerrilla warfare, Mount Rushmore 2.0, Super Dragon and Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla champions. And I will not go into the list of championships that these guys have held and do hold. It is too much to talk about here. They go up against an outstanding team they came up with. 3 of the best, 3 of my favorites: Biff Busick, Andrew Everett, and the wild man Trevor Lee. Hard hitting, you got it right there. High flying, all kinds of spots and maneuvers. Boom, Mount Rushmore. This was an outstanding match, something to remember. And not only did it have what you expected to have, it had chairs, it had trash cans. You had a referee knockout. You got the second ref making his way down, Rick Knox, who was then beat down by the Young Bucks. And Super Dragon would pin Biff Busick. Just total madness. And when I tell you that every move in the repertoire of these 6 men was achieved, I'm telling you, every single move they could do was done. Whew. My God, this was one hell of a match. And again, people put through tables, and the finisher in the brutality was the first I've seen with thumbtacks on a chair. My man thrown into this chair of tacks and then pinned. Oh my God, the violence. This match had it all. That was the main event for night 2. Night 3, we open up with Brian Cage versus Jack Evans. Basically with this, Brian Cage got pinned lickety split. And I mean, he's had a total of about 20 minutes time the entire weekend. There must be an injury involved with Brian Cage, something going on, because this is not his style. Usually he is a guy that dominates everyone and everything he's in, and there had to be an injury on this. I don't have a report on that yet. Brian Cage, of course, a One Wrestling Family interview alumni, if you will, making a great interview. If you look back at the Can-Am Wrestling show with Big Ray and Andre Corbeil and myself doing the back of the day segments. Of course, as you know, and this is a cheap plug, the Can-Am Wrestling show has been retired. It is done. It has been laid to rest. Things change in this world, and the change being the rise of the Big Slam Nation is coming. That's right, the Big Slam Nation, going to be the greatest wrestling show on the internet. I say that without a tinge of humility. That's right, I'm saying that the Big Slam Nation will be the greatest pro wrestling video interviews with the best stars of professional wrestling in the ring, from out of the ring, all around the ring. Veterans and new arrivals on the scene. Everyone gets a chance. We will cover everything from the indies to the step up to Ring of Honor, to Pro Wrestling Guerrillas, to CZW, to New Japan Pro Wrestling, to Wrestle One. Everything and anything Pro Wrestling Syndicate, House of Hardcore, you name it, on the indie scene, we are going to cover as much as humanly possible, along with the WWE, NXT news and reviews, that being me, Big Ray at Big Ray Show, covering the pay-per-view previews and reviews. Billy Ray Hustle, at Billy Ray Hustle, Billy Ray Valentine, taking care of your Raw reviews. We got the Professor, Quintana, A-Track, Brown, Fame Black. It's going to be out of control. But back to night 3. We had Biff Busick in a singles match here, going up against Chris Hero. What a hard-hitting match. Two of the best strong style, kick in your teeth, take you out on a stretcher type of individuals. A solid match, and Biff Busick confirmed to any doubters that he, while making his journey to the NXT division of the WWE, is going to go in there and change everything. He is a monster, and he is going to battle and destroy and get into it, brother, doing what needs to be done to make NXT bigger, badder, and better. He would fall to Chris Hero in this match, getting just one. I don't want to kill the guy. Chris Hero hit him with a second rope pile driver for the pin and the win. Chris Hero, my hero, your hero, makes his way further at the Battle of Los Angeles 2015. We then get the wild man Trevor Lee going up against Party Marty the Villain Skrull. Whew, what a match, brother. These two guys just destroyed everything. Perfect old school heel being Marty Skrull. Trevor Lee, the wild man from Cameron, North Carolina, proving to the wrestling world that he indeed has arrived. Skrull would win this match via that insane brutal chicken wing, and Marty Skrull goes forward. Battle of Los Angeles. We then get Pentagon Jr. going up against Zack Sabre. UK versus Lucha Libre. This guy, it was armbar versus armbar. Very similar in some of their styles. You just wouldn't think that Lucha Libre and that UK wrestling styles would work out. Well, you were wrong. These guys truly just did it. It was a great technical match, and scientific mat wrestling. Was going at it, and Zack Sabre would win with the Kimura lock on Pentagon Jr. We then had Speedball Mike Bailey going up against Tommy End. Another, this night 3, as always, just seems to excel. And we had this murdering each other in this match. Low blows, numerous near falls, and it would end with Mike Bailey with a double stomp from the top rope and a kick to the head for the win over Tommy End. Then you had William Ospreay from Wales, another UK sensation, going up against reborn Matt Sydal. As much as I am a fan of Matt's work and the way he's reinvented himself, actually being reborn, coming from the stagnation that he was forced in the WWE, at that time not a good place for a high flyer like Matt Sydal. Ospreay is one of the golden child pro wrestling gorilla sensations this year in the tournament, and Ospreay would go over beating Matt Sydal. Ospreay is definitely this UK coalition here, just hands down, just brought out the best in the fan and me in what they are doing. We would then get an 8-man tag, Mount Rushmore 2.0, going up against Roddy Strong, Super Dragon, the Young Bucks, versus Angelico, Phoenix, Rich Swann, and Ricochet. Alright, now I just mentioned to you Roddy Strong, Super Dragon, Nick and Matt Jackson going up against Angelico, Phoenix, Rich Swann, and Ricochet. What exactly do you think transpired here? I cannot even begin to try and tell you what happened in that ring. Something you have to see to believe, because the moves that these guys do, you just can't. It's so fast. It's so overwhelming. I say you get the DVD, my friend. Find it online. This match, crazed and insane. These are 8 of the best in the business. Again, hats off to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla this year. They truly have outdone themselves. And your winners in this would be, again, Mount Rushmore 2.0. The Bucks, Dragon, and Strong are taking no prisoners this year. We then get Jack Evans going up against Chris Hero. Talk about 2 of the best in the indie scene. Excuse me with my notes here. This is what it is, folks. Chris Hero getting the win via the rolling elbow, taking out Jack Evans' dreams of winning the tournament. This was unfortunately a so-so match. It was not the best that both of these guys are capable of delivering. I don't know if it was fatigue. I don't know if it just their styles did not mesh so well. I don't recall ever seeing these two going up against each other. But regardless, Chris Hero moves on in the tournament. A guy that a lot of people didn't think was going to go far, but I knew Chris Hero would make it to the finals because he's that damn good. We then got Bailey going up against Ospreay. Back and forth, Junior Strong style, kicks and strikes. These guys, Speedball and Ospreay, everything in the future of greatness in this sport is literally in their hands. This ended with a head kick by Bailey, beating the Welsh superstar William Ospreay. Then again, the UK continues the ride. Zack Sabre Jr. going up against Marty Scurll. Oh, this was a great match. Again, there's really, even the ones that were not the great ones were still heads and shoulders above a lot of the stuff out there. And here you just had just an unbelievable match. And Sabre armbar submission, and he goes forward in this. We got a 10-man tag. the 5-man band versus Team Ciampa. Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Trenty Locks, whatever you want to call him, part of Roppongi Vice, along with tonight Drew Gulak, Drew Galloway, Aerostar. Hell of a 5-man team. Tommaso Ciampa's Team Ciampa was himself, Mandrews, Thatcher, Drago, and Andrew Everett, a team that is not slacking in talent. This had one of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's notorious, if you will, infamous, or just damn well entertaining if you take it for what it is, and they had the slow motion match against each other, coming up for a stun. This is freaking hilarious, and it got over huge with the fans. Goofy spots mixed in with incredible high spots. Fun and entertaining. Just an enjoyable time in this match. I mean, if you've seen that before, if you haven't, it's just gold. You gotta love when they do these 10-man and that slow motion. Just kills me. 3-way dance, elimination rules. Chris Hero versus Zack Sabre Jr. versus Speedball Mike Bailey. This was slow paced. These guys wrestling basically I think they're conserving themselves for the guy to advance. That's my opinion. A good solid wrestling match, again slow paced. Hero put Bailey out with 3 consecutive pile drivers. When I said before about him not wanting to kill somebody with the pile driver off the second rope, well, 3 consecutive pile drivers, and it was so gratifying to see this guy not just get up after 3 pile drivers and go on like it was nothing. He sold it. Pinned by Chris Hero, and then Chris Hero and Sabre went at it. Sabre Jr. putting Chris Hero in a sick double arm bar submission hold, and then he switched and was concentrating on one arm, and he caused Chris Hero to tap out. Chris Hero will not be the winner of the Battle of Los Angeles. My pick as it was for him to shock the wrestling world, but he was outstanding and really strong in this tournament. And then Chris Hero did something that you don't see a lot of. He put over Chris Sabre on the mic, and also Pro Wrestling Guerrilla stating, basically that as always, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and Delirious, Battle of Los Angeles, the premiere in pro wrestling, and within North America itself, just very solid, cool spot by Chris Hero. Then Drew Galloway, Mark Andrews, William Ospreay, Tommy End, and Marty Scurll all come out to the ring to celebrate with their UK brother. And it was a UK, United Kingdom fun fest in the ring. These guys loving it. These guys lit up this tournament this year. And then the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla champion Roderick Strong made his way out, staring down Sabre as the show closed out. And your winner this year, Zack Sabre Jr., Pro Wrestling Guerrilla tournament. The guy was incredible. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, another one knocked out of the park. I cannot wait to see this tournament in a nice, clear, comfortable viewing experience, unlike that which occurred with me. I know I'm getting the 3 DVDs for this as I pick up Bola every single year. I urge you to go to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's website. Fans in the UK, it's up there for you. Check it out on my Twitter feed at You Got The Show. That's UGOTDASHOW. I had postings up there for the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla site and the one for the UK, so you could order or pre-order your events. And looking to picking up a lot of DVDs from their catalog. I mean, so many good things from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. It was an outstanding finale. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla again proving that they are the elite when it comes to indie wrestling. The Mecca, if you will, in Reseda, California for the diehard pro wrestling fans. One day I hope to make it to Reseda, going from coast to coast. Not something easily done for me, but it'll be well worth it to have my seats at ringside. It's my dream. That's my one of the things on my bucket list for pro wrestling. Definitely checking these guys out live in the flesh, if you will. And again, follow me at You Got The Show on Twitter. I do the NXT news and reviews for One Wrestling. Bill Apter, our guru, our icon, the man. His book has been released. It is Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broke. Shouts out to Bill Apter at Apter One Wrestling. Follow him at the Apter Chat on YouTube. My amigos, my brothers in One Wrestling's in the Big Slam Nation, Big Ray at Big Ray's show. Billy Ray Valentine at Billy Ray Hustle, or at Billy Ray Valentine, Billy Ray Hustle. I'm all mixed up right now. The Professor Quintana at PROFPW Hustle. 8-Track Brown, the dirtiest in the city, at Pharaoh of Fancy and Fame Black. Philly's own at Fame Black. Big things again coming for the Big Slam Nation. You will be the first to know when we debut and land. And the guests we're lining up are the best in the business, my friend. I will not let you down. Again, follow Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Check out everything they got. Spend every last dime you have and get the DVDs from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, because you don't catch these guys on pay-per-view. And you got to get the DVDs or you don't see the events in Reseda, California, unless you're there live. And if you are, I'm jealous as hell, but you enjoy it and have fun. Have a beer, cold one, pass it off to those guys in the ring when they make their way out. You just never know what's going to happen when you're actually there in the arena, and that's one of the best things about independent wrestling, is you get that interaction between the stars in the ring, the announcers, the referees, the guys who are running the show, the bookers, whatever it is. They're all there. They all hang out. You get to meet all these guys at some point during or after the show. It's a cool thing. I mean, you're not going to have Triple H, you're not going to have Stephanie McMahon walking in and around during a WWE event, shaking hands and doing whatnot. You're not going to have the wrestlers out there for you in between matches and after. You only get that at Fan Access, and it's just so big and so commercialized. That's what's awesome about independent wrestling. I know I'm going on, but I want you, if this is the first time you're seeing an independent promotion, I urge you, get out there and follow these indie promotions that are literally probably right next door to you, down the street, next town over. Everybody, every state in the union has an independent promotion or more. it's worth it. It's worth your time. It's worth your money. You get to find and be part of a wrestling family and friends you'll hook up. It's awesome, dude. Dudettes, I urge you again, get out there live, support them. And you know what? Not that you can't go and support the big boys. Obviously, their shows and their product is huge. It's big. They got the money behind it. You get pyro, you get big lights, and they do have, obviously, some of the greatest wrestlers in the world because they can afford to buy all of them for the contracts. NXT is where it's at when it comes to the WWE. That's my spot. I watch that faithfully. I tell you whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Again, check me out at NXT News and Reviews. The latest being up there this week for September 23rd's TV show, and I talk about actually what's been going wrong in NXT since TakeOver Brooklyn and what they need to do to fix it. With that, I am the show, and I will see you down the road.